Another beautiful week in Southern California. I'm Tom Hicks. This is Ridin, SoCal. Well, today's guest, we have Tony Carbajal. Tony is a stunt rider for Victory Motorcycles, but you're also a stunt rider for Hollywood, and you've just expanded your stunt riding career. So we're very privileged to have Tony here today. And so, Tony, let's start out. Why don't we tell everybody what got you into stunting?
I grew up with a love for motorcycles, and my older brother was he was the one that kind of steered me towards motorcycles. And when I was about 16 years old, and I rode a buddy's sport bike, and I was hooked, and I left dirt bikes behind, and typical young guy not making great decisions. I was out on the streets doing wheelies before I knew it, and eventually I started seeing videos of guys doing more than just wheelies, and I was into it. And so I started taking things to the parking lots and trying to learn as much as I can, and
Sure.
it was actually something that I picked up pretty quick. So
Well, you have off-road riding experience. Let's talk about your off-road first, because I'm an absolute advocate of, if you want to learn how to ride a motorcycle properly, you start off-road.
Yeah.
You learn off-road because it gets you to understand how to move your body weight around and everything, and not to worry if the bike wiggles a little bit,
Yeah.
things like that. But talk to us a little bit about starting in the dirt.
Well, I started on the dirt and on a three-wheeler, like the old ATC.
Oh, ATCs.
That was my
I was
first.
back with American Honda. I worked for American Honda for many
really?
years, back when they had the ATC.
Yeah, those bikes were a lot of fun. They were super dangerous, but a lot of fun. And that was what I started on when I was about 9 years old. And I rode on that thing for a while, and eventually moved to two wheels. And my brother, he was pretty advanced rider. He was into racing, and he started doing freestyle motocross. And
Really?
so I was kind of doing track days with him, and just it was nothing.
So
nothing
you went
that
out and
I
did
picked
track
up.
days at the local racetracks.
Yeah.
Where are you from, first off?
I'm from Riverside, California.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, local.
Yeah, born and raised out there, and so we would go out to like San Jacinto to Competition Park and ride at tracks like that. And dirt biking was never anything that I was great at, and I still, to this day, I'll still go to Milestone and ride the track.
But you basically learned the concepts of handling a motorcycle
Yeah.
from your dirt experience.
Yeah, that's what taught me the basics for
Right.
sure. And I left dirt behind for one specific reason. Was my brother had a really bad life-threatening crash, and it really made me put bikes aside altogether. And I don't know. I think that once you have bikes in your system, though, you can't just walk away from it.
I tell people that all the time. Motorcycling is a disease,
Yeah.
and there is no cure but to ride. And that's just
It's
what we do.
I've done all kinds of other stuff, and now, I mean, my life revolves around motorcycles, and it's what I do for a living, and I'm blessed enough to be able to do that. But I go out and I do other things, and nothing does it for me. Like, I've been skydiving, and I've been out to do a lot of other things, and it's just, when I get on a bike, it's totally different.
Isn't it, though?
That's what gets me going.
Oh, there's nothing like it in this world.
Yeah.
I became a pilot, and frankly, if you compared the two, the only difference is being a pilot, you add another dimension,
Yeah.
right? But as far as which one's more fun, if all the things that I've done in motorcycling, I still have to say motorcycling.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So now you've come up through the ranks. Now, street bikes. Okay, so you got into street bikes. You rode a sport bike. Did you take street bikes out and do a track day like out at Fontana or something?
Yeah, I've done track days because, the stunt riding thing is what kind of took me on tour.
Sure.
I started getting to see everything, see the world, see the whole country, and I've done track days anywhere from here all the way to New Jersey Motorsports Park. And
Really?
yeah, it was another thing that I enjoy it. I love, it's fun to go fast. It's fun to see how much you can better yourself, but I do a couple laps and I get bored. And then I start doing wheelies, and then they kick me off the track, and next thing I know,
normal track days, they don't like the show. Just show off, but that's what you get paid to do.
I have a couple black flags that some of the motorsports parks have given me to take home.
So now, with what you've been able to attain is really something very special because, to my knowledge, I don't know that another major factory like, Polaris Victory has hired a full-time stunt rider.
Yeah, not exclusively anyway. I know, on the sport bike side of things, there's Kawasaki's very supportive of stunt riding.
Oh, they've always hired them for events.
Yeah.
But you're on the payroll.
Yeah, with Victory, yes.
And that's a huge thing. Yeah. That's a factory racer.
Yeah, it is. It's a big deal, and it's a big movement for our sport in general, but for us as well, just being a part of something and working exclusively, and we're to a point where we can say that we have managed to not only get our foot in the door, but we have the manufacturer turning to us for advice on how to better their motorcycle.
Wow. Isn't that just incredible?
It's huge for me. It's huge for myself and my teammate and just our sport in general, because we are out there pushing the limits on the bikes and really just putting the motors through hell. And
well, we here at Southern California Motorcycles, we have Southern California Victory, and since we are also Victory enthusiasts, we watch everything that's going on. And Victory definitely is going for more of a performance image. Since Polaris bought the Indian name, and they've gone out and really promoted and built Indian to be what it is right now.
Yeah.
Victory is not competitive with Indian. It's a little bit different in the sense that they've really gone for the performance image.
Yeah, it's definitely performance based, and it's Polaris in having Indian and Victory under their same umbrella. I don't think that it's something that they're trying to be competitive with one another with
right.
the two brands. They want both brands to succeed.
Sure.
And so Victory is kind of the brand that they're, Indian's got heritage, and it always will. And people love Indian for the name and for the look, and they have what they have. And with Victory, what we are trying to do with Victory is definitely push the performance side of things and try to get people interested in what the bikes are capable of and what the look of the bikes as well.
Well, that being a Victory dealer since 2005, and really watching them since 1999. It seemed that they make probably the best cruiser on the road, but they never had a name.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. They made these incredible bikes. They're beautiful. They're stylish. The performance, everything about them was just incredible. And if you talk to a Victory owner, they're so sold they'll never ride another bike type of thing.
It's true. So true.
But they didn't have that name. And so what does a multi-billion-dollar company do? They went and bought a name and put a good motorcycle under it.
Yeah.
And now they're doing well.
Yeah, they are doing well, and things are getting better and better. But the thing that's hard about our job is I can sit here and I can tell everybody in the room that they should ride this motorcycle, and it's great. And anybody that doesn't know me or somebody that sees me doing shows, they think, oh yeah, well, you get paid to say that. And
good point.
And really, it's like, yeah, maybe I do, but I'm being completely honest about it because it's not just a paycheck for me. I'm very passionate about the brand and the bikes.
Well, you're a passionate motorcyclist.
And I came from a whole different world. Like I have over a decade of experience on sport bikes, and like I tell people, I never expected to see myself riding a bagger.
And doing the things you do on a bagger.
Yeah, if you asked me a couple of years ago, would I be riding a Victory Magnum, I would have said no. Why would I do that?
Now, you get to ride all the Victories, of course. But now, stunning on the Victories, is it strictly to the Magnum, or do you stunt on any other Victories?
No, we ride almost every single bike in the fleet. If you, even if you were to catch our show recently in Sturgis, we have 7 to 8 bikes to our fleet per show.
I caught your show last year in Sturgis, and incredible. And it's just something that when Tony gets out and does his thing with a bagger, you know what I mean? For all intents and purposes, it's a big bagger, and you're just spinning that rear tire, and the things that you can do with that motorcycle, one, shows your talent, but two, kind of shows the motorcycle too.
Oh yeah, definitely. We talk about the bikes for what they are. Victory tells us, hey, you tell people that bike weighs 800 pounds, and it weighs every bit of 800 pounds, and we slap superchargers on those bikes, and I mean, to be totally honest with you, the bike's capable of doing half of what we do with it without the charger on it, but
Sure.
The supercharger definitely helps get more performance out of the bike, and it helps us get sideways faster and longer, and it's a lot of fun.
And the engines have been able to hold up to
Yeah,
it.
the engines hold up, and I was thinking to myself on my way home, man, I'm thinking of video ideas, and I was thinking, man, I need to just, from every show that I do, everywhere that I go, I have video of my bike just pinging off the rev limiter everywhere.
Right, and you totally crossed up sideways with the rear wheel just putting a ton of smoke out.
And I come home and I change tires and I change oil and I go back out. I ride that bike
amazing.
on the street every single day.
Really?
I go to shows with it. I ride it for shows. And at Sturgis, there's days where Joe and I will go in there. We'll do our shows. We'll drift around on the baggers and we'll ride right out of our area and we'll go cruise Main Street.
No kidding.
We ride the bikes all over the place. So.
You know, what a life. It something that you definitely, I know you are proud of and you should be, but something that's taken hard work. Now, I've had the opportunity to know a lot of stunt people over the years in Hollywood and stuff, and that's not the easiest life.
Yeah.
Now, how about injuries? Talk to us a little bit about that. Have you taken some spills? And I don't think you've done much on the Victory. What?
No, that's I dread that one. I mean, I haven't had anything recently, knock on wood. I hope this is real wood.
It is.
The Victories, we're pretty limited to what we're doing on those bikes because we try to showcase the bikes mostly stock.
Sure.
So we're kind of limited to the tricks that we're doing on them, which is we still have enough to put together a show. And,
your show's fantastic. And for any of our viewers and listeners that haven't seen Tony's show, find out. Now, Tony, if somebody wanted to see your show, how do they find out?
I usually will list a schedule on my social media or Victory.
And your social media is?
I have several different sources, but we do have a Victory Stunt Team Facebook page.
Okay.
I have my own personal Facebook page, which is just my name,
And is
Tony
it
Carbajal.
under Tony Carbajal?
Yep.
That's Carbajal.
Yeah,
Right.
Instagram, Twitter, all of that stuff.
Cool,
I have
cool.
it all. YouTube.
And so you could find, our viewers could find some place to watch
Yeah,
you.
and it's all of our event schedules listed on the Victory Motorcycles website as well.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
So Hollywood. Now there's a place that's
Yeah.
it's a foreign planet. Most people in the United States have no concept, or the world
Yeah.
have no concept of really what that movie life is. I had the opportunity to teach Pamela Anderson how to ride a bike for the movie Barbed Wire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I've had different opportunities out in Hollywood, and it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're doing it for a living.
Yeah, it's the second half of how I make my living.
Well,
Is
yes.
In addition to motorcycles has been my main source of income for over a decade, and film and TV's probably been about half of that. So
Now, do you strictly with motorcycles, or do you stunt in cars? Or
I do a little bit of car driving and mostly motorcycles. Motorcycles are my specialty. But
Right.
funny story about film and TV is that film and TV is exactly how our partnership with Victory Motorcycles came about.
Oh,
So not a lot of people know that, but my teammate Joe Ridin, he's in film and television, stuntman as well. He's a camera operator. Sure. He does a lot, and so he was in Los Angeles, and he went in for an audition for a Victory Motorcycles commercial, and their first bold commercial with the guy drifting the bag.
Oh, yeah.
That was Joe.
Oh, right
so,
on.
So yeah, Joe got linked up with people over at Victory through that, and we started talking about what the bikes were capable of, and they started talking performance, and then
the next thing
we all linked up and started talking about Sturgis, and so next thing we knew, we went to Sturgis, and we kind of showed him what it was all about and what we could do, and then kind of put together some media stuff, and then boom, here we are 3 years later.
Oh, that's amazing.
Still doing it, but not to get off topic of film and television.
Well, no.
Yeah,
You know what we're going to do right now? We're going to take a little break. And I'm Tom Hicks. This is Ridin SoCal. I'm with Tony Carbajal. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Hollywood. Be back with you in a minute. Hello, I'm Tom Hicks, and this is Ridin SoCal. And we're back. We're back with Tony Carbajal and talking about stunt riding, and we're talking about Hollywood and all that kind of fun stuff. But now we're going to see if Tony can tell us a little bit more about some of his Hollywood things.
Yeah, actually, I'll go back to when it all started for me. But sport bikes is when most of it started, and I was co-starring on a television show that aired on Speed TV for about 4 years, which was called Super Bikes. And then,
oh yeah, I remember that.
After Super Bikes, our show moved to Fuel TV, and it changed to Stealth Rider, where we toured around and we did some stunt riding in a lot of iconic locations, and that was a lot of fun. And then after those shows ended, I landed myself on a movie set, and I was a stunt double for a guy in a Bollywood film. But I mean, it sounds different, but it was a big budget, big production. It filmed in Chicago.
Now, Bollywood, that's
it's like India Hollywood.
India Hollywood,
yeah.
That's right. Okay.
And so, but they wanted.
And they've got money.
They've got money, yeah, and they wanted Hollywood type action, and they brought huge production out to Chicago, is where we were. So I got called out to Chicago. I spent 4 months there, and that was my first big film experience, which it was an amazing one.
Would we recognize the movie, or was that something?
I'm not sure.
Oh, that's true, because it was probably in.
Yeah, it's a Bollywood film. It's got the song and dance and all that, but it's called Doom. Doom 3 is the third one that they were on, yeah. So that was a good experience for me. It really was.
And you weren't on a Royal Enfield?
No. It was a tough one because, not tough, but not a lot of people land themselves in a position like that on one of their first big gigs, And
no
so
kidding.
I was pretty lucky.
A full movie set.
It was a good experience. I met a lot of good people, and since then I've been working here and there in between my normal motorcycle schedule, but I've worked on anything from commercials, music videos, big feature films. And
well, the one thing I've found out about Hollywood is it's really who you know, but who you know is created by the fact of what you can do and how dependable you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How you can commit to a project.
Yeah, there's a lot involved. It's when you get hired, I'm super thankful every time for any job I get. But the stunt coordinator, the production people, they instilled trust in you that
Sure.
you're the right person for the job. There's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of safety issues. There's a lot of expensive equipment.
Well, that's one thing for sure. And I've been involved with some stunting in Hollywood, not myself, but seen it in the fact that safety is number one.
Oh yeah.
They make sure that everything is as safe as humanly possible.
Yeah, it's.
Well, tell us one of your wilder stunts.
On the movie Doom, actually, that I was in Chicago for, it was one of my situations where I was just like, I don't know about this. It's every now and then you find yourself in that position on a motorcycle,
Sure.
and I was like, I don't know about this. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and we were at the Chicago Pier, and I was on a BMW S1000 RR. The bike was pretty new, and myself and another guy next to me, we had to jump the bike about 60 miles an hour off of a two-wheel ramp over the water and land on a flat steel barge that was moving out from the pier.
Okay.
Yeah, so
how do you make that safe?
Yeah, they had guys in the water for safety, and
really,
I mean, there was a camera right front and center inside on the barge, and they said, "Don't hit the camera." And I can't promise you anything, but I'm just trying to make the barge. So, yeah, that was, we practiced several times our distance on flat ground, but once you you see water and a big gap, it's a different story. But
So how did it go?
It actually, it was a one and done. It worked out well, but
Really?
the bike took some damage upon landing, and
Well, sport bikes aren't particularly meant to be jumping.
No. So I actually jumped, landed exactly the way that I wanted to, which was rear wheel first and then front wheel, but I came down so hard that I popped and bent the front wheel pretty bad, and then I was trying to stop. We had about a little less than 100 feet to stop to the end of the barge, and so everything I had to stop the bike. We had actually prepped the steel top because it was so slick, and it was.
Oh, of course, you would.
At that time of the morning, there's moisture, and so we went to Home Depot and all the different hardware stores and bought as much of the spray adhesive that they had to offer, and we sprayed the whole thing down to try to make some
fascinating.
traction.
So instead of putting some sort of grating or
because the spray adhesive is clear, you don't see it, and so we put a lot of that stuff down and just went for it. And the other part that made me a little more nervous than the jump itself was that we had two other guys on bikes that were at the end of the barge, and they had slid into the barge parallel, and they were looking back at us, and then we had to make the jump.
You had to go into them.
Yeah, and we had to go into them and hopefully not crash and not lose the bike and not hit them. And so I had my teammate actually, Joe Dryden, he was on the other end of the barge, and he had jumped right before me. He came to his stop, and then they opened up the gap on the barge, and we jumped in, and so I was worried about, if I did crash,
did you
the
guys
bike's
jump off
gonna
the
hit
pier
him.
next to each other?
Yeah, side by side.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So I'm also worried about the guy next to me,
Of
hoping
course.
that he's gonna make it. And so yeah, that was probably one of the bigger ones. But yeah.
How about talent? Have some of the Hollywood personalities out there? There's tons of them. Anybody we recognize that you work with?
Few. I was recently in Cuba for Fast and Furious 8, and was helping Michelle Rodriguez, kind of coaching her on the bike a little bit. And she's a rider. She knows how to ride. We were just trying to help her learn better turning and stopping, and she likes to go fast. So it was like any second that you put her in a straight line, she was on the gas.
No kidding.
Yeah. So, but she did well, and a couple of the other actors that were on that movie that I think there were some newer faces that were brought onto the film, but
of course.
They didn't do so well. One of the guys rode a bike into a ditch on a rehearsal day, and other than that, it was everything went pretty well. But yeah, there's worked with her. Not really sure. I can't really think off the top of my head other people that I've
Well, how
coached.
about, obviously you're not playing ping pong. This can be dangerous, especially what you're doing.
Yeah.
Have you had any significant crashes?
Oh, I have. Mostly on the sport bike side of things. The victory stuff hasn't been bad yet. I hope that it doesn't get bad because I always say big bike, big crash, so. But on the sport bike side of things, I've definitely done a number to myself. One of my worst crashes was I was rolling distance stoppies on the front wheel, and this was back when I was just young and dumb and hadn't learned my lesson
Maybe
yet.
hadn't calculated.
And I was actually good rolling good distance probably. I couldn't tell you the distance right now, but coming in at like a good 70 miles an hour and launching up on the front wheel, and I didn't have a steering stabilizer, which is pretty critical for rolling on the front wheel at that speed, and I had a bar swap and put me right over. The bike landed on top of me, and I woke up about 90 feet from where I'd crashed and had road rash. I'd separated my shoulder, broke my rotator cuff in half. I broke my scapula.
And you were probably young enough then you didn't have the right gear on.
I didn't. I absolutely did not.
That's that's touching on that. We see a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of people out there doing the stunts with no protective gear on.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, come on. It's one thing to look cool, but wow.
Yeah. I can't remember what helmet that I had on then. This was prior to me working with Icon, but back then I was young, and I thought, well, wherever I can save money, I can buy parts
Sure.
for my bike, and keeping my bike going was my priority. And now keeping myself going is a priority, because if I can't work, I don't make money. But I had hit my head so hard that I actually split the helmet, like right down the center, and I had road rash from my hip. I still have a big scar on my hip, but I took it with a grain of salt. I learned my lesson. I said, I put myself out here. I know that I'm only the one to blame,
Sure.
and I just needed to correct my situation.
And you
I
were
went
young,
out.
you healed quick.
Yeah. Actually, it was the most painful part about it was that I was so messed up from that crash, and I walked into the garage every single day that I could get up and move, and looked at my bike, and I broke my bike's fall, and the bike was perfectly fine to ride.
Oh no!
But I was completely destroyed, and so it was, I couldn't get back out to ride until I was good to ride again. And
Well, I know that feeling as a road racer. You'd get injured and you couldn't go out and road race,
yeah,
and you couldn't go out and do what your passion was. It tears you up.
yeah,
You don't sleep at nights. You overeat, overdrink.
yeah, I get it. And safety is definitely it's a huge concern of mine. It's a huge priority at this point for me. But
Sure.
Preaching it to other people, you can only tell them to do it,
Right.
and hope that they will. I hate for people to learn the hard way, but I do encourage people to go take a safety course prior to going out
wear
and
the
riding
right
around,
gear.
and, yeah, wear the proper gear.
When you get your first pilot's certificate, basically they hand it to you and go, here's your license to learn. License to learn.
Yeah.
And it really is true with motorcycles also. Keep learning. Keep getting instruction. And always wear the proper gear. But with that said, Tony, we're at the end of the show. Thank you so much for being on
Yeah.
the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, this has been fantastic. And you've got such a wonderful career ahead of you.
Oh.
Wishing nothing but luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll go over some Southern California motorcycle stuff now. First off, we want to support our heroes here at Southern California Motorcycle. So we have a discount program for first responders and military, both past and present military. So if you have a DD-214, you prove that you're military, you come in and see us, and we have that discount. And of course, we carry so many brands here at Southern California Motorcycles, we have something for everyone. Also, we have, speaking of Victory, we have the Victory Demo Truck. Southern California Victory is sponsoring the Victory Demo Truck on September 24th and 25th at Cook's Corner here in Trabuco Canyon in Southern California, of course. But come up there on those days, and I think, what is it? It's 9:30 to 5, and come demo ride one of the 2017 Victories. Of course, you have to meet the demo ride requirements, proper gear and licensing and no alcohol and those kind of things. But what a wonderful day it's going to be up at Cook's Corner. Cook's Corner is one of the big motorcycle hotspots of Southern California. So come see us September 24th and 25th up at Cook's Corner with the Victory Demo Truck. And then come in and see Southern California Motorcycles. The only thing I can really guarantee you about this place is it's like no other dealer you've ever seen. So I'm Tom Hicks. This is Ridin' SoCal. We'll be back with you next week.